Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. We are currently in an exciting year of new champions, and when it comes to Spider-Verse defenders, offensive weapons, well, let's just say that we have a lot of champions to be excited about. But one of the champions that has been the most requested since I started playing this game 7.5 years ago is Sandman. That's right, the OG Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 Sandman villain. And that is why I am covering today a Sandman concept that comes to us from, and I know I'm going to butcher this, Yakovrox, Yakovrox. Sorry if I butchered it. I probably did. So, the passive is being made of sand grants Sandman immunity to bleed and shock, plus 1,000 physical rating and a 90% duration decrease on incoming armor break and rupture effects. The opponent attacks knocks sand of a certain part of Sandman's body. When the opponent lands the same attack consecutively, it glances Sandman. Sandman's sand max stacks of 100. Throughout the course of the fight, Sandman passively gains 1 sand every second, which makes him grow in size and strength. It would be pretty amazing to see a champion grow like physically on screen. I don't know how easy that would be to actually show, but you never know. Each stack of sand grants Sandman plus 1% attack rating and 90 physical resistance. Sandman stands still while not performing an action. He gains sand twice as fast while standing still. Buffs are like dust for Sandman. Literally, whenever Sandman would gain a buff, he instead gains 5 sand. This goes on cooldown for 5 seconds if caused by the Dexterity Mastery. Sandman loses 1 stack of sand when he's struck by an attack that doesn't glance. He loses an additional sand when struck against the wall. Sandman loses up to 10 stacks of sand when he's knocked down. When Sandman would lose sand as a defender, they instead become dormant sand charges that have no effect. Sandman cannot gain sand while incinerated. When Sandman would receive a bleed effect from a non-mystic opponent, he loses 5 sand. These sand do not become dormant sand. Now, Twister. When Sandman reaches maximum stacks of sand, he automatically becomes a Twister for 10 seconds. Again, I don't know how easy this would be to code, but that looks really cool. Granting him the following effects. Passive Unstoppable. Attacks deal an instant burst of physical damage equal to 10% of the attack's damage. Sandman can't lose sand. When Sandman would gain sand, he instead regenerates 1% of his missing health over 2 seconds. This doesn't stack. For every 10 stacks of sand, when Twister is activated, it lasts 1 more seconds and gains 10% potency. As a defender, Sandman also becomes a Twister when his sand and dormant sand add up to 100 stacks. Unless otherwise stated, when Twister ends, Sandman loses all of his sand and dormant sand. Really remarkable detail in this. In his heavy attack, if Sandman has at least 50 stacks of sand, his maximum sand limit is set to his current sand amount. In his special attack 1, if it hits the opponent, the final hit consumes 10 stacks of sand to actively root the opponent for 5 seconds, and I still hate finding root. I am so bad at it. If this attack doesn't land while defending, Sandman places a sand trap in that spot, which will root the attacker if they activate it. While Sandman is standing still during this root, he gains sand at quadruple the speed. This root expires twice as fast when Sandman is attacking the opponent. And special attack 2, if this special attack is activated during a sandstorm, the sandstorm ends to double Sandman's sand stacks. This can bypass the stack limit. The final hit consumes all of Sandman's sand to become unblockable, land a guaranteed critical hit, and root the opponent for half a second per 10 sand consumed. Max duration is 5 seconds of root. On activation, the Twister ends without removing any sand and makes the final hit deal a burst of 433 physical damage for each stack of sand. This damage is increased based on Sandman's current attack. And then Sandman regains 2 sand when he hits an opponent suffering this special attack's root. Special attack 3. This attack ends Twister and consumes all of Sandman's sand to create a sandstorm, lasting 0.35 seconds for each sand consumed. Sandstorm deals 1,250 damage to the opponent every second. This damage scales with Sandman's current attack. Sandman also gains 4 sand at a time from his passive and sand gained during a sandstorm. His signature ability is the Sand Castle. Sandman gains abilities based on his sand stacks. 25 plus sand energy resistance equal to 20 to 4% physical resistance. 50 sand, 5 to 10 block proficiency. 75 plus sand, 3 to 6 critical resistance. And 100 plus sand, increase regeneration rate per sand charge, and Twister is paused during both champions specials. That is a lot of information. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know if I understood all of it, but I do think it was a really impressive buff concept that also we were able to get through in less than 6 minutes, which is not easy to do. So thank you to the Summoner for the Sandman concept. Would you be excited to see him in the contest? I think we have a good chance to see him this year based on all the leaks, but we won't know for sure until Kabam announces it. Have a great rest of your, start to your week, actually. Thanks for watching.